In June of 2021, a heat dome settled over the Pacific Northwest of the United States. Oregon alone recorded over 100 deaths in a single week. Nearly 80% of the people who died were found indoors. Not on construction sites, not on hiking trails, inside their own homes. And here is the detail that nobody led with in the news coverage. Most of them had a fan running. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. I work in preventive medicine and senior wellness, and that single statistic changed how I talk to every patient I see in the summer months. Because the belief that a fan means you're safe is so widespread, so deeply assumed, that people stake their lives on it and lose. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 mistakes that turn an ordinary hot day into a life-threatening emergency. And one of them is almost certainly something you believe is protecting you right now. Before I get to the list, I need to give you one piece of biology, because without it, none of the 5 mistakes fully make sense. Your body has a built-in system for getting rid of heat. When your core temperature rises, your heart pushes more blood toward your skin, where it can shed heat into the surrounding air, and your sweat glands activate. The sweat evaporates, and that evaporation pulls heat out of your body with it. At 35, that system is fast, efficient, and almost automatic. Here is what changes after 60 that almost nobody explains. First, you sweat less. And you sweat later. Your body's thermostat doesn't trigger the response as quickly as it once did, so heat builds before the countermeasure kicks in. Second, your sense of thirst and your internal temperature awareness both dull. Your body stops sounding the alarm as clearly. Third, an older cardiovascular system works harder to push blood to the skin, especially if there's any blood pressure issue or heart condition already in the picture. None of this is frailty. It happens to strong, active, healthy people. But it means your margin for error on a hot day is genuinely narrower than it was 20 years ago. And most people do not know that. One more piece. Humidity matters more than temperature. Your body cools itself through evaporation. When the air is already saturated with moisture, your sweat cannot evaporate. It just sits on your skin and does almost nothing. 90 degrees in dry heat and 90 degrees in humid heat are 2 completely different threats to your body. Always look at the heat index, not the raw temperature, when deciding how seriously to treat a hot day. Now, 5 mistakes. Let's go. Mistake 1. Trusting a fan to keep you safe. A fan feels like the obvious answer. Air moves across your skin, you feel cooler, you relax. And in mild heat, that instinct is correct. A fan helps evaporation, and that cools you down. But there is a temperature where that equation reverses entirely, and most people have never been told where that line is. When the air temperature in a room climbs above approximately 95 degrees Fahrenheit, the air itself is hotter than your skin. A fan blowing that air across your body is now pushing heat into you, not away from you. You feel a breeze. Your body is quietly overheating. And because the breeze feels like cooling, you stay in that room, comfortable, while your core temperature climbs. This is precisely why so many deaths in heat events happen with a fan still running in the room. The fan was doing what it always does. It just stopped helping at a threshold nobody had ever told those people existed. What to do instead? Above the mid-90s, a fan is not enough, and you cannot rely on it alone. Air conditioning is the single strongest protection available. Even 2 to 3 hours in a cooled space, a library, a shopping center, a neighbor's home, meaningfully resets your body. If you're using a fan, make it actually work. Wet your skin first. A damp cloth on the back of your neck, a cool shower before sitting down, a spray bottle. A fan moving air over wet skin is an entirely different tool than a fan moving air over dry skin in a hot room. Mistake 2. Not knowing what your medications do to your body in the heat. This one is invisible, which is exactly what makes it dangerous. Several of the most commonly prescribed medications in adults over 60 interfere directly with your cooling system. Diuretics, the water pills taken by millions for blood pressure and swelling, pull fluid from your body on purpose. In a heat wave, when you're also losing fluid through sweat, they can accelerate dehydration significantly, and they can blunt your thirst response so you don't feel it happening. Beta blockers reduce both your sweating rate and your heart's ability to pump blood to the skin, two of your primary cooling mechanisms, turned down simultaneously. And a class called anticholinergics, which appears in certain bladder medications, sleep aids, and antihistamines, can suppress sweating almost entirely. Here is the most important sentence in this section. Do not stop or skip any of these medications because it's hot outside. That can be far more dangerous than the heat itself. What you do instead is pick up the phone before the next heat wave and call your pharmacist. Ask one question. Which of my medications affect how my body handles heat? That is a 2-minute conversation. For most people, it has never happened once. Mistake 3. Waiting until you're thirsty to drink. For most of your life, thirst was a reliable early warning. It is no longer. Research from the National Institute on Aging is clear that the thirst mechanism becomes significantly less sensitive with age. Older adults can be meaningfully dehydrated without feeling particularly thirsty. Add a diuretic, add heat, add the blunted alarm system we just discussed, and you can slide into serious dehydration without a single obvious signal. By the time you feel genuinely thirsty on a hot day, you are already behind. Dehydration thickens your blood, strains your heart and kidneys, drops your blood pressure, and dramatically increases the likelihood of dizziness and falls. The fix is simple but requires intention. Drink on a schedule, not on demand. A glass of water every hour during a hot day, whether you want it or not. Check the color of your urine. Pale straw means you're doing well. Dark yellow means you're behind. If your doctor has told you to limit fluids due to heart or kidney disease, that guidance overrides everything else. But for most people, steady, proactive hydration through a hot day is one of the most concrete protections available. One additional note: alcohol and caffeine both pull fluid from your body. A couple of drinks or several cups of coffee in serious heat push you in exactly the wrong direction. You don't have to give them up, just match each one with an extra glass of water. Mistake 4. Trusting how you feel. This is the mistake behind the statistics I opened with. The people found in their homes in the Pacific Northwest heat dome largely felt warm, maybe a bit tired, possibly a little foggy. They did not feel like they were in danger. And that is the cruelest feature of heat illness after 60. The very system designed to alert you, your sense of temperature, your thirst, your body's distress signals, is the thing that has been turned down by age and, in many cases, by the medications keeping you alive. Your home can heat up degree by degree across an afternoon while you adjust to each increment and never consciously register the danger. Heat rises, so an upstairs bedroom can be 6 to 8 degrees hotter than a ground floor room. A room at 88 degrees Fahrenheit is dangerous. A room at 92 degrees Fahrenheit can be deadly. And you may feel, sitting in it, like you're simply having a warm afternoon. Stop trusting the feeling. Trust a number instead. Put an inexpensive thermometer in the room where you spend most of your time. When it reads above the mid-80s and is still climbing on a hot afternoon, that is your signal to act, not to wait and see how you feel in an hour. And set up one person. a neighbor, a family member, a friend from down the street, to check on you every single day during a heat wave. A daily phone call or a knock on the door is not an imposition. It is the thing that saves lives. I have seen it save lives. Mistake 5. Not knowing the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. This distinction can mean the difference between a scare and a death. Heat exhaustion is your body waving a red flag while it can still correct course. The signs: heavy sweating, skin that feels cool and clammy, muscle cramps, weakness, nausea, dizziness, and a fast but weak pulse. At this stage, the fix is achievable. Get somewhere cool, lie down, sip cool water, and place cold, wet cloths on your neck, your armpits, and your groin, where large blood vessels run close to the surface. Heat exhaustion caught here typically turns around. If it isn't caught, it can become heat stroke, and heat stroke is a call 911 immediately emergency. Heat stroke is when your core temperature has climbed to approximately 104 degrees Fahrenheit or above, and your body's cooling has completely failed. The warning signs: confusion or speech that doesn't make sense, skin that has become hot and dry because sweating has stopped, a rapid pounding pulse, a severe throbbing headache, or loss of consciousness. That confusion, that change in how a person is thinking or speaking, is the single most important sign to watch for. It is the one that families most often dismiss as tiredness or disorientation from the heat. Do not dismiss it. At 104 degrees Fahrenheit and rising, the body is beginning to damage its own organs, including the brain. Every minute counts. Call 911. While you wait, move the person into cool air. Apply ice packs or cold, wet cloths to the neck, armpits, and groin, and keep them there. One critical caution: if the person is confused or unconscious, do not give them water by mouth. They cannot swallow safely. Cool them from the outside and let the paramedics manage fluids once they arrive. Here's what you do today. Before this video ends, check the heat index for your area, not just the temperature. If you use a fan alone, understand where its limits are. Call your pharmacist this week about your medications. Set a water alarm on your phone for once an hour on hot days. Put a thermometer in your living room. Arrange a daily check-in with one person during any heat event. And learn the 2 signs that require immediate action: confusion and hot, dry skin. None of these cost anything. None of them require a prescription or a specialist. They require only that someone took the time to explain them clearly, and that you took 5 minutes to act. If this reached someone you care about before the next heat wave, share it with them now. That single action may be the most important thing you do today. I'm Dr. Emily Carter. Subscribe and turn on notifications because the next video in this series covers the medications most likely to make summer genuinely dangerous and what to ask your doctor before the temperature climbs again. Stay cool and look in on the people around you. Medical disclaimer: this content is for informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult your physician or qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to medications, hydration, or your health regimen.